Bienvenidos, fans of the hottest entertainment on the planet. Jaimé En Fuego here, and another installment of my reviews coming from the Fantasia International Film Festival, y'all. It has been, boy, a blistering amount. I've been still maintaining the one a day. This being, I want to say day 13 that this one will be debuting. And yes, this actually is going to be encoring for a second time, which is great, so I can actually plug it for anybody who's at the festival who may actually come across this. And Fantasia, I mean, one of the most respected genre festivals in the world. It is celebrating 30 years this 2026, which is pretty rad status, obviously. So I just got done watching my screener because I am virtual press. I'm unfortunately not up there, experiencing significantly better weather in the Great White North, Montreal, Québec, Canada, to be specific. I'm here in the deadly desert of Arizona, suffering through a hellacious summer, as we always get. But yeah, y'all, so this is a film entitled Sour Minnows, and it comes at us from, I believe it's writer-director Harrison Atkins. So no familiarity with previous work from said Harrison. However, I'm definitely familiar with a few of the actors in this, not the lead, whose name is Ricky, who we primarily follow through a very strange bit of psychedelia and trying to figure out what exactly is happening in his life after a very peculiar occurrence. However, this girl that our dude Ricky becomes involved with, I remember her specifically from Red Rocket, which I personally contend is the best film from homie who got, I mean, rad statusly big with Nora, I want to say. In any event, we're not here to talk about that guy. We're here to talk about Harrison's film. So, and then I always get happy when I see, what's his face? I want to say Chase Williamson. I mean, he plays Ricky's roommate in this, and he's like pretty space cadet status, I mean. But yeah, man, Chase is awesome, dude, whether it's John Dies at the End or his segment in Scare Package. Sequence Break is rad status. Love that movie. So anytime I see Chase in anything, even in a supporting role like this, you know, he's quite good. But our lead is played by David Brown, if I recall correctly. And so, yeah, Ricky and his roommate, who is the guy that Chase Williamson portrays, they're walking home from the grocery store one day, and there's like a very interesting low-budget, very conversation forward sort of vibe to this. It gives me a lot of just recollections of Slacker from one of my favorite directors of all time, Richard Linklater. So, you know, just that very DIY indie sort of conversation heavy, you know, lots of just cameras following characters around as they're walking, discussing things. Most notably, they're talking about, you know, movies, they're talking about career aspirations, you know, like his roommate's like, yeah, I want to make a music video, I want to make a short film, you know, do you want to be in either of those? So, I mean, just, you know, just waxing intellectual about art and just, but, you know, you can tell they're like a little bit of the Stone Space Cadet sort of variety, which is fine, man, you know? And so, they observe something very strange, and it's mentioned in the synopsis, so I don't think I'm going to be spoiling anything majorly because there's still not a trailer floating around for this yet, for Sour Minnows. But there's a number of peeps who are just lying on the sidewalk, like licking the sidewalk. You know, it's pretty apparent they're probably tripping on something, but I mean, you know. And as they observe this happening, Ricky kind of comes back to himself a little while after the fact, and his roommate, played by Chase, is saying, yo, you dropped the groceries? Like, you seem like you lost it. And so this begins what becomes something that Ricky is afflicted with throughout the remainder of this film, which is where he just keeps losing time, you know, and he thinks he's one place, and then like he goes to a party, he goes on a date with this girl and goes back to her house. I mean, just the girl from Red Rocket that I mentioned, just various things, man. And yeah, he's just losing time, and he's like, maybe I just got really stoned and, you know, just like fell asleep in my car. Like those sort of just gaps, you know. And the psychedelia in this, I mean, to get the vibe, as somebody who has been psychedelicized, to quote Jim Morrison, in various times in my life, most notably, you know, in late teens and early 20s, in that period of my existence and whatnot, and prying open the said third eye. It's a combination of many things to really make you feel like you're on drugs. It definitely is. And so it's a combination of just odd mannerisms from characters. Sound design specifically plays heavily into it, especially with, like, as we find out more and more of what is happening with Ricky, and there's still a lot that's, left for interpretation, not completely revealed, I suppose, but it does keep it interesting. But I will say that they do such a great job with the sound design in this, because as actually happens in those situations, and I can speak from experience, there is a heightened sense of just, you're hearing like humming and buzzing, and whether it's lights, whether it's, just an attunement to sound that is so much more significant than normal. So it's a combination of that, and also the editing is always going to be a big thing to make you feel, like you're on something, And so the film does a great job of just getting this across, even for those who have not experienced this. I would imagine it's very convincing, and it just really puts you into that mindset very well. The narrative is a little scatterbrained at times, but isn't that the case for those who have had experience with this? That's accurate, isn't it? So Ricky is trying to get some answers as to what the hell is going on, and because even the girl that he's kind of seeing, who has just recently moved to LA, because they're very obviously in Los Angeles in this film, I think she said she was from Alaska at one particular point, and even reveals to Ricky that she played drums for a band in Alaska, because when we see them hanging out early in the film, they're just kind of getting to know each other, feeling one another out, so to speak, and yet once again very art-centric with a lot of the discussion that the two of them have as they're talking music and filmmakers and things of that nature. And it's just Ricky, as he realizes that he might not be the only one afflicted with this. There's also his girlfriend, kind of girlfriend, his female friend, we'll say, but Chase, the guy who plays his roommate as well. So that's a thing. And then it turns out it may be even bigger, because it ties in with some very strange performance actor who they say at one point on a news report was like living under bridges and stuff, but is yet still very noteworthy within the underground community. And so there's some weird things that transpire with him. And so it just all kind of correlates together in a very strangely psychedelic manner, but it's not going to be for everybody for that regard. But this was totally up my alley with just its weirdness. And there's a film that they watch at one particular point. I just want to remember the name because it cries cranberries. Love the alliteration there, man. But so that just, there is, and the title actually comes from a moment where Ricky is walking through this mall at one particular point and finds like a little minnow in his pocket, or thinks he does, or whatever. So there is almost, after seeing those people frying out on the street, it's like it triggered almost like a perma-fry aspect to him and what he is continuing to experience. And it's almost like he can pass it along to other people when there's interactions or things of that. You're led to believe that could be a possibility. But yeah, he does connect with other people experiencing the same thing that, came in contact even beforehand. And there's some very odd lore about like yellow creatures. I just want to keep it vague as opposed to just spelling out the whole damn film. But this was a recommend, man. As I said, it is going to be like nonsense for some people, but for the experience, for those who have dipped their toe or just jumped right in and swam at various occasions, it definitely gets its point across incredibly well. And then you just have random things like the boom mic at the end of this movie. That's not me spoiling anything, but for those who have seen Sour Minnows, you know what I'm talking about. And just it's oddball, but yet it does play it pretty serious, so it is darkly comedic, but also kind of a head trip at the same time. Because it's not full-on goofball. Another great film that I saw called Dance Freak earlier in the festival. Not the same sense of humor, but a seriousness to the absurdity of it all that just kind of, rings true, gets its point across, and puts you into the shoes of our protagonist, Ricky, very well. So, guys, gals, everyone else, that is my thoughts on Sour Minnows. And as I said, it debuted on the 24th, which a few days ago at this point, over the second weekend of Fantasia, but it is having an encore showing. As of this filming, it's going to be tomorrow on Wednesday the 29th. So for anybody who is at the festival, if you have the opportunity, if you feel like getting psychedelicized, to quote Mr. Morrison, you do have the opportunity. It's playing on Wednesday the 29th, and I'm just going to double check the show time at 1:45 p.m. local time. I know they do everything military time on the Fantasia website, so I guess that would be what, 13:45 Eastern time, military time. Yeah, guys, gals, everyone in between, as I said, that is my thoughts on the just awesome oddness that is Sour Minnows. I extend the grande gracias. I have been Jaimé En Fuego. You can find me on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Here on the YouTubies, obviously, where y'all know the drill, the liking, sharing. Subscribe to this channel if you've dug this review, some of the other ones. For the longest time, I was just leaning into the short reel like sort of approach, and yet, you know, those go on, you know, the Insta and, you know, the TikTok and all of that silliness. So yeah, I think I am, as of this coverage of Fantasia for another year, getting back into the doing, you know, longer form reviews and giving thoughts. I think that it really, especially if it's not a film that the general public is going to have the opportunity to rush out and see, these are ones that I want people to have on their proverbial radar in case they do show up at a festival that you have access to, or you know, once it does finally get into some sort of limited theatrical situation, if they're lucky enough, or if it shows up on VOD, streaming service eventually, what have you. I believe this was the world premiere of Sour Minnows at this, so, you know, props to, you know, Harrison getting this to debut at something so prestigious, so that is definitely rad status. And just to double down once again, Fantasia is going through this upcoming Sunday, August 2nd, so man, if you're in the Great White North, as I said, if you have any inclination, what have you, and you can actually make it out to this festival, first and foremost, soy envidioso if you can. You know, I would love to be up there, as I mentioned earlier. But yeah, if you have the opportunity and you're going to be there this upcoming Wednesday, yeah, I definitely give this a recommend, man. It was very interesting and spoke to my sensibilities for sure. So once more, thanks so very much, everybody. Danke, arigato, merci, you know the drill. And until the reel of Ka comes around once more, hasta luego. Sin amigos constant viewers, say thank you. I hope that we have been well met. We share more of this palaver sooner rather than later, just trying to give my beloved Inflame some love. And until the next Fantasia review happens, adios.